Hello, this is your man, Jon Rognerud. Good morning to you here. Actually, it's just slightly afternoon. It's been a busy morning here, but coming to you today live on Facebook and YouTube and also on our media and marketing podcast. Hey, once again, appreciate you coming in here and watching some very cool things I'm going to share today. In fact, I named this the social media. What did I name it? The attraction for how to get clients. I always forget the naming of this, but the truth is there's a way that you can use social media and Facebook ads and videos to attract clients that are more in the buyer mode, right? So we all want clients as consultants, experts, agencies, professional services industries. Clients is the backbone, right? And be able to serve at the same time. You certainly don't want to just attract, well, firstly, the wrong client and then try to serve that client. In fact, I had a client slip through our funnel this morning that was totally not qualified, and they were able to sneak through because they went into our forums and submitted information that was actually not correct. But you will get some of those from time to time. But hey, let's start in. But before we do that, for you all that are watching, you are seeing the homepage of chaosmap.com. That's the agency, Facebook customer acquisition experts. We focus on scaling your business to reliable and profitable, predictable profits, as you can see here. And I'm showing that here because we are opening up at the agency right now for new clients. We are exclusive. We don't work with all clients. There's a process for this, but I'm going to share with you what you can do today to get into it. So without further ado, let's do that. And by the way, if you want more information, you can click on the watch a recent case study here, or just set up a free consultation. Happy to help you there at chaosmap.com. All right, so let's go into present mode here for this chart. And by the way, I'm going to put this chart in the show notes. And if you have any questions on this, feel free to shoot a message. And also, if you prefer email, support@chaosmap.com. But what we're going to talk about here is the social media video sequencing framework. See, I knew there was a title to this. And this is what we're doing today. And so the whole idea is based on the fact that you can use videos on Facebook and Facebook ads specifically and sort of slice this up by using a larger interest group at the top and then filtering down. You're very familiar with the marketing and sales funnels, of course, starting at the top, more volume, more interaction, more traffic, not always more interaction, but you have tire kickers and potential buyers, and they come in and they filter themselves down. Well, nothing like video, right? You can get basically videos presented to your target client or your target market for pennies on the dollar. This is the new TV here, but in a much smarter way, much more personalized way. And Facebook is amazing at this because of the nature of its hyper targeting, and of course the way that it allows you as an advertiser to present your message, to present your information in such a way that it doesn't feel like it's either overwhelming or sort of cramming some information down your throat, et cetera, et cetera. People hate that, right? And the expression goes, people love to buy, hate to be sold to. This is a perfect example of this. And so what we're seeing here is a sort of tongue-in-cheek here, Stranger Things. If you've seen that on Netflix, great, good for you. If you haven't, hey, check it out. I think there's new episodes coming out later this year or next. But anyway, the idea here is when you first start out sending messages to the marketplace. In fact, one of the questions that came in this morning and also yesterday, come to think of it, was, great, I can do some videos, but what do I say? And at what stages do I say this, et cetera, et cetera. So we've had some information on this before, but I figured I'd formalize it a bit more into this video sequencing framework. So on the left side at the top there, Stranger Things. Yeah, basically, I don't know you, right? So if you've figured out your initial message and your initial target, you're on your way, but you still don't know exactly how to structure this, and you don't know how to set this up in Facebook ads yet. Well, I'll kind of take you through it here. And I say kind of because I'm actually not going to show you the Facebook screens here today, because there are obviously folks on the podcast as well. But I'd like to take you through the framework. And if you have questions, shoot us a message and we'll help you through this if you want to just dive into Facebook on this. But On the left side, we have the I don't know you concept. So what we will do, though, is we will create a 1 to 3 to maybe 5 minute video. So it's fairly short, right? Top of funnel is what the TOF stands for. So that is in red because, frankly, it's sort of a showstopper at that point. They don't know you, right? And as we move over to the right, we're going to present a middle of the funnel video. I call that video 2. And that's where, they're warming up to you. It's the concept of, hey, you seem cool. This is interesting, right? It's that kind of a feeling that folks would get from it. And over on the right, in green color, it's kind of a go, if you will, sort of using the color schemes here as kind of a model for describing this. Well, we have bottom of funnel video, and this is where now the receiving end gets to say things like this: "Hey, I like this guy," or "I like this gal." Or, "Hey, I like you. This is very interesting. What do you have for me?" Right? And by the way, this could be two videos. You could do, 2 videos, much longer, and than the 1 to 3 to 5 minutes. You can do 4 or 5 here, but 3 is a good baseline, and it's one that we use. And I'm actually running one right now myself for a webinar that I actually spliced up into 3 different videos, and running that out on the good old Facebooks right now. And over on the very right is, an asset that you can give away or share. Very often this is a freebie. It could be a guide, it could be a download, it could be a video sales letter, it could be a webinar, etc. So I have that over on the right. But let's go through the levels here. So now that you understand kind of the overall architecture or framework here, then let's drill down. So we want to go from this you're an annoying pest potential, uninvited guest potential, and then move them through these funnels to get them to know, like, and trust you. That's exactly what you want, right? So at the second level here, and I'm going to use my mouse for you all that are watching, we have a little speech bubble, right? So what do you say in that first video? Well, there's many different ways to come at this, right? And each market is different, but as a generalized approach, first of all, before I get into this, you also don't want to be boring, right? You don't want to be matter of fact. You can script out, that's fine, but you don't want to seem like you're reading off of a script, right? So if you know your wares and you know your stuff, you should be able to outline this quickly on pen and paper, if you will, or digital paper, and basically just camera on, phone. Typically low production is fine. In fact, the more real it is, the better. And you basically share a quick story, something that gets them intrigued. This is all about creating attention out the gate, not something where you're shaking the camera, waving your hands crazy, and showing a picture of a doll that has nothing to do with the conversation, etc. You see this on Facebook, but it's really just kind of cheesy, and it puts you off in a weird. It's just not starting the conversation off right. And you wouldn't do this if you met somebody at Starbucks or anywhere else. You would just naturally open up with, "Hey, let me tell you a quick story. And this relates to you," right? Because you will have already done the targeting. I'm going to talk about the Facebook targeting here in just a few minutes. But so that's where you start out. Very brief story. They don't want to hear your life story, obviously, here. And they really are not too concerned about you at this point. They were intrigued because of the copy and the video kicking off. Share why you're different. Brief story, why you're different. Also what you're going to learn. And again, this would be very quick. This would be something where you'll say, "Hey, listen, today I want to share a great tip and insight to help you get X so that you Y," right? And after you've done that, and a quick action step. And typically here is where you have a call to action. I like call to action. Some say that, hey, if you're running engagement ads here, just let it fly, right? Acquire the social proof here instead. No need to just, force an action step at this level. I like that. You can still have not a conversion campaign, but a page post engagement. We call it PP campaign here on Facebook. But again, an action step. So what to do next, right? And that next step could both be, hey, there's going to be some more videos in this series, so watch out, like this, and you'll get it, as well as, hey, click over to our webinar that explains this in more detail. Or if you click this button, I'll shoot you a quick message. This is an opportunity for you to do Messenger, right? So there's many different ways here, but you want a next step. So that's for the top of funnel video 1, what to say, right? So you got that? Good. Now, number 2, middle of funnel. So this is the concept of you seem cool. This is interesting. I've seen you before. I know a little bit about you. So now you could tie that into a related learning tip. So you could say, hey, in the previous video, I talked about X to get Y. Now I'm going to talk about how to scale that, how you take that to the next level. And here's a tool that I use for this that's really helpful, and it's free, and you can use it right now. So this is where you demonstrate essentially how you can get results, and you provide that value right there. And again, action step also there. And ideally what you want here is to have this all tied together into a theme, into a topic. So again, click over and you can join our webinar, and I'll explain this in more detail, or the video sales letter, which again, you don't call out as such, but it's a presentation, a broadcast that you did, and either a personal setting or even from stage, right? Again, showing authority there. So different ways to do that, but again, very simple here in the middle of funnel video 2, you seem cool. And the third one is, hey, I like you, right? This is now building up the know, like, and trust. This is where you might have a more of a sort of a big splash. Hey, appreciate you watching. Have a big announcement next week. XYZ is coming up, or next month I have a workshop, etc. Right? I mean, basically, you're kind of calling out something that's unique, that's special, that's timely, and it's urgent. It's a little limited. It's not mass appeal here at this point. You've obviously had people who have watched these videos, but some of these that are in this bottom of funnel are going to be the warmest. They are going to be the ones that are most excited to pursue next step. And you want this to also be a little exclusive here, right? So this may be, again, back to your webinar, invite them to come to the webinar. But if you act now, I'm going to add a bonus. Again, you don't want this to be feeling like it's a sales pitch and the only reason why you should get in there, but also perhaps join the webinar. And if you are in the Los Angeles region 2 weeks from now, I want to get you a free ticket to our half-day workshop, whatever you have there. You get my drift, right? So again, thinking about the offer structure here is going to be important, and also how you can elicit a response that's natural, but is forward thinking. So that's really what you can say for this video 1, 2, and 3. Now, what I've also done is I've added here sort of a second layer to this what to say, because you can make this really simple. So what I explain now is a little more involved, right? I mean, you have to kind of think about this a little bit more, what to say in these videos, and actually have some really juicy tips and insights. And you always want to have that, right? You don't want to sort of half-ass this and say, here's some videos that will kind of help you. It's like, no, we want it to be really helpful and add goodwill at the same time, right? But here's where I kind of stripped it down and said, okay, in the first video, just give a quick learning tip. Hi, this is Jon. Today I want to share this killer tip with you that will do X for you. And then boom, very quick, 30 seconds, 1 minute. Again, you want to consider also stripping these videos down to leverage unique placements like Facebook stories, Instagram stories, the 15-second rule, right? And different sizes, and not the 1-by-1 box that I talked about in the previous broadcast, but the sort of the tall boy, or the larger size that is more elongated top to bottom, right? So that's top of funnel video 1. Just a very simple tip. The same for 2 and 3. Hey, here's another learning tip. Here's a great thing that'll do X for you if you implement it. Here's number 3. But on number 3 here, for this simplicity, again, I've sort of added the with urgency over here on the right. So now at this point, say, hey, if you like all of this, please go to this and make sure to sign up, because I'm selecting 10 people to get access to my free online workshop / summit that starts in 2 weeks. Happy to have you join. Again, I'm going fast here on this. I'm just giving you some ideas, so you don't have to make this complex. Now, next question is, hey, how do we implement this? Well, if you have the assets, if you have the videos, these are the things that we do at the agency, chaosmap.com, and we're accepting clients right now, so feel free to head on over there. But essentially, without showing you the Facebook insights and the dashboards inside Ads Manager, essentially you start out with, obviously we have to talk about budgets, and we have to talk about what we think, if you don't have much data, what the cost per leads and CPA should be, and we're going to set some metric goals out the gate. But you want to then set up a specific interest group, and there could be several here, but we're going to start with just one for simplicity's sake, and there'll be a larger bucket of these, and they're going to see that first video, right? So this could be in a classic example that so many of us use is if this is Tony Robbins' target audience. Again, don't necessarily recommend that, but because there's other better strategies than just simply targeting that, but let's use it. So it's a larger bucket, and that's what we're seeing down here. Same concept, right? It's a wider audience. They don't know, like, and trust you yet. They're building this up. So we're pulling that data set out, and we're targeting that first video. Some people are going to like this, and they're going to watch 50% of that video one, right? Well, we can retarget them because Facebook allows us to build custom audiences from that 50% watched. And again, these arrows here indicates, large, smaller, smallest, right? Well, these audiences is just exactly like a funnel, right? You're basically sequencing these videos, as I said, in order, but you're also trimming down the fat, trimming off the fat, which, by the way, I should be doing more of. But I digress. You then essentially get a small group of people that are much more targeted, much more interested here. And same thing goes for the final stage here is 50% watched of video two, right? So the 50% of one, they are a segmented audience, and those in turn watch the second and third videos. You can see how we're segmenting this down. Each interest slice essentially gets smaller and more specific, I put here, which is exactly right. And that's what you want. You don't want to send your message out everywhere. You want to be exclusive, and you want to connect with those folks who connect with you. And that's how we do it, essentially using videos, simple messaging, call to action, and learning tips and insights that places you as the authority, as a leader in your market, and using targeting through slicing up these buckets of people who have watched certain portions of your video, right? Meaning percentages watched. And there are different ways to segment this. A 50% watched of a video, which is 1 minute, is very appropriate. If you have a 10-minute video, which I don't necessarily recommend, but again, testing is always key here. Always be testing, right? Well, then 50% of that's 5 minutes. Well, that is highly engaged audience at that point. So you might want to, if that's hard to get, to build these audiences up because you want this over time, sped up, but over time, not too far out, right? Well, you may do 25% of that, right? So again, you can test this, but you want these buckets to be, contain enough data so that you're not 2 months out and you're still trying to build up the 50% watch from video one, etc. These are the things, as I said, that we do at the organization. So if you want to check that out, you can. And let's see if I can flash the good old URL up there. Hey, look at that. chaosmap.com. If you're seeing this on Facebook Live or on YouTube, then you'll see it. I welcome you to head on over there. But I thought this was helpful, and this has come up quite a bit. And you see folks doing this very successful in the marketplace. And I've used this myself in a more limited scale. We get a lot of referrals into the organization, but we're scaling up ourselves. And I'm also testing this off of my personal page as well out on jonrognerud.com. But anyway, so to summarize then, the social media video sequencing framework is a 1, 2, 3 video shot on your iPhone or, whatever device you have that's easy for you with, learning tips for sure. But you might get a little more involved by describing a brief story, which is based on a premise, right? A premise of a promise. You've heard that one before. And why this is different, or why you are different, and what they learn. Related learning tips, tools, etc. Announcements of something coming up, something limited, something exclusive, something that's urgent, something, again, that's not accessible to everybody, because this, frankly, is exactly what you don't want. You want it to be exclusive and more smaller, specific niching of your data points as you move through here with the Facebook data sets. Yeah, that's exactly what you want. So, hey, hope this is helpful, and please share, like, comment, and man, we got some new subscribers in on the broadcast from internationally, Morocco and Egypt, and hey, I love it. I appreciate all that you do, and keep at it, and don't lose sight of the end goal here. Later, Jon out.